I'm Chris.
And I'm Chris.
And this is
Mike Fight. Let's get it on.
Hi and welcome. We're episode 7. Today we're going to talk a little bit about AOC.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Oh, Cortez. Cortez.
Isn't it beautiful how it rolls off the tongue?
Oh, the double. You got to roll your R. You got to roll your R. And we have someone else, right? We have someone else we're going to talk about.
Yeah, we're going to get into this NYU study.
Oh,
that is
let's touch
not
on that
really
first.
A study.
Let's touch on that first.
When you look at it.
This is science, people. This is science.
Yeah, this is more of the science
We
crowd.
got to follow the science, okay? So, Chris, go ahead.
All right, so for those of you who don't know, over the past, 4 years, but mainly I'd say a year and a half in particular, there's been this enormous increase in mainly conservatives, Republicans being kicked off of social media platforms, banned from things like Twitter, Facebook.
There's definitely a perception out there.
Right?
Perception.
And so this has been a common theme for the past, like I said, mainly about a year or so. So the left decided to do a study to try and make the next misinformation campaign.
The left is very broad. You got to narrow it down here. Give the people someone to actually look at. What are we looking at here?
All right. So in particular, this time we're going to look at the college, NYU, which is not really
they're absolutely fair, dude.
Yeah,
they are
not your typical right-leaning campus.
They are straight line, straight line.
So it's no wonder that they were asked to do this study, which was funded by one Craig Newmark, who is the founder of Craigslist.
Oh, Craigslist. I've never actually used anything on Craigslist. I've never bought anything. I've never actually looked at Craigslist. Is that bad of me?
No, because you probably would have gotten robbed or raped at some point.
Oof. All right, go ahead.
So, Craig Newmark, as you may know, is a huge Trump supporter and is a big advocate for Republican causes.
Really?
No.
Oh.
His latest donation was given to who?
Take
a guess. It's gonna be a tough one.
Shit.
Sitting current president.
Oh man, Hillary Clinton?
No. Close though.
Oh, who?
Joseph Biden.
Oh, Sleepy Joe.
$100,000 donated to the Biden campaign.
That's a little bit of chump change.
But you were close because in the past he has donated to Hillary Clinton.
Oh, I see. I knew something.
As well as Obama, Nancy Pelosi.
So he's just riding the blue line.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. He's riding the blue wave.
Oh, the blue wave. Burn. Did he feel the burn?
He drowned in the blue wave. So this guy funded this study, which came out and stated very boldly, very definitively, that conservatives being kicked off of platforms, social media, fired from companies, is misinformation and not true.
What?
At all.
Really? The studies prove that?
Yeah, their
studies
proved that.
Proved. Now, so my perception of the media or social media platforms silencing conservative thought and conservative view is not really what this study said. It said that it's not there, that it's all fake.
It's all fake.
Oh,
all fake.
Shit, really? So what are the numbers from the study, Chris? Go ahead.
See, that's the interesting thing. See, they cannot provide statistics or data to back up this claim.
Wait a minute. Wait. Can you just say that again?
Right. So the study does not provide statistics or data to back up their findings, their conclusions.
How can a study come to a conclusion without any data?
Oh, because they have people on the inside who are giving them the word. They're giving them their word that this is all true.
Wait, this is a study, right? A study?
Yeah, which I'm sure costed a lot of money, right?
So
right, it costs money to run these studies, right?
Time,
effort,
people,
research,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, definitely.
Right. Well, the funny thing is one of the main companies that they looked at was Twitter. right?
Oh, that's a social media platform.
Okay.
Right? They had the little tweets.
Now, do you think Twitter agreed with them that conservatives are not banned exponentially higher than any other group?
Well, I don't know. I mean, just recently they'd have to say that they are at least a couple people that they are banning, right? Because I mean,
Couple. Yeah.
former President
I
Trump
times
was
that by
actually
thousands.
when he was president, he was banned, right? So Twitter has banned some people. So
Right.
there's got to be some data to support that, right? Coming from Twitter.
Well, to your surprise, Twitter agrees with the NYU study. However,
Damn.
Twitter refuses to release any of their statistics on who gets banned
Wait a minute.
on their platform.
Wait a minute. Okay. Hold on here. So social media. Okay, the study is studying. The hypothesis is that conservative thinking and thoughts is being suppressed or deleted by social media platforms. Right. That's the hypothesis. They
Right.
come out with a conclusion based on this study, on their findings, that says that is false and misinformation. And then when we go to actually look into the data to show that their conclusion is true, there is none. On top of that, a social media platform in which would be part of their study fails or refuses to provide them with the data to support the claim in which they have deemed their conclusion that conservative thought is not being suppressed. Wow.
Yeah, correct. You have the gist of it,
Wow.
right? It's a hell of a study.
That is one magic loogie.
Now, I'll give you one better. Craig Newmark. Do you know what else he's donated to?
I have no clue.
Okay, let me tell you. It's a company called Pointer, who runs,
What the hell is that?
they run PolitiFact. Now, we all know what PolitiFact is, right? Those are the opinion checkers on social media.
The
Right.
fact checkers.
Yes.
The fact checkers. Look at that. This dude. Oh, sneaky.
Millions of dollars in donations to this company that runs PolitiFact, who themselves in 2019 made a blacklist of 515 websites that they deemed unreliable. Guess what the majority of those websites were?
Oh, no, they were straight down the line, Chris, right? Straight down the line, even?
No. Try again.
They definitely leaned. They didn't want the blue wave, right? They didn't get on that blue wave, right? They didn't ride it. They didn't ride into the sunset, right?
Unfortunately, they didn't have a choice. That wave came and swept them away.
Oh my.
Right?
How many-
Majority
what was it?
conservative.
Yeah, do we have a percentage on that?
No, unfortunately, we do not.
We do not.
No, unfortunately, we do not. But you know,
But still.
you have a group who they don't even have the hypothesis really, right? Because the hypothesis is there conservative bias on platforms? Are conservatives, Republicans being kicked off at higher numbers? That would be a hypothesis. They take that instead and they go, no, we know for sure that conservatives are not kicked off platforms and silenced at a higher rate than any other group. Now find the data to back up that. So they don't start with just a neutral theme. They go with what they want their final conclusion to be,
Right.
and then they go and they find the data to back that up. However, in
This
this
is
case,
not science, people.
they do not have data. But it's just funny, again, how
This is
you
not
have
science.
a left-leaning college like NYU who does a study funded by Craig Newmark, who is a Democratic mega donor, who runs this study and at the same time donates millions of dollars to a company that runs PolitiFact, which is another left-leaning company who fact checks majority conservatives.
So this is what I'm going to say right here. So I have no doubt that this is being done purposely, right?
Right.
They obviously, people behind this have an agenda. I have no doubt that there are those on the right that have an agenda and will produce some other type of study. Again, I would consider these far extremes on both ends. Now, this is an example of an extreme side, whichever it is. In this case, it's a Democratic side, in which they're utilizing or trying to utilize a scientific method, right? They are trying to utilize data, hard evidence, right? They're saying they're conducting a study, right? Because normal human beings, that rational thinking human beings, will say, well, what is the data? What is the numbers? What is this? What is that? Because that's how a rational person thinks. They want to look at the situation from all sides. They don't want to just say, well, let me hear your side and your side only, and let me form my opinion. I want to hear your opinion, and you know what? I want to hear your opinion. I want to see your numbers, and I want to see your numbers. Just look at it objectively. Objectivity, people. You hear me? Anybody that knows me, I rail against this objectivity. Okay, and again, here is a clear example of them trying to utilize this. Why? Because it hits most Americans' way of thinking. They want to see the data. So let us produce a study under the guise of getting all this data. We're doing it scientifically. I'm doing air quotes, scientifically, utilizing the scientific method. And this data and this study goes and shows conclusion that there is no bias, there is no suppression, there is no conservative thought that's being downplayed. Meanwhile, they have nothing, zero evidence, zero data, zero numbers. And why is that? Because one of the major platforms, Twitter, refuses to give them and provide them with said data. Now, why? Why would...
Yeah. Again, if you have nothing to hide, then why not produce the data?
That is a common phrase that has been thrown at right conservative people. If you have nothing to hide, what's the big deal? I'm telling you that I don't necessarily agree with that, but I'm saying I find it very suspicious, right? Very suspicious. Not only does Twitter not want to share the data, but they agree with the conclusion.
Yeah, well, who are they interviewing for the study? They're interviewing people who work at these social media platforms. They're interviewing probably, execs, higher ups, that, of course, they're not going to tell you, we are targeting the right. We're targeting them. They're not going to tell you that because, again, it's all about controlling the narrative and controlling the flow of information to the public. This is one of the biggest stories that have been going on over the past year, 2 years, since Trump became president, but mainly over the past couple of years, where people can see that, conservatives are targeted a hell of a lot more. So what does the left do in order to make the right seem like they're just, picking at conspiracy theories again? They get a group like this, funded by a guy like that, to come up with some stupid study that literally proves nothing, but states the conclusions that fit their narrative, and they push it out to the public and say, see, it's all crazy right-wing people again with their conspiracy theories. It's all fake news. They're lying to you. Nothing to see here. Move on. And this is always the story.
Everyone, you have to take a look. You have to dive, and you have to read. Don't just read the abstract. Don't just read the conclusion. Don't just read the background of a study. You got to read the methods. You got to read the methods. You got to read the actual data, right? On any particular study. The same thing I could say is what they did against red meat, right? 2-3 years ago, they've been going against red meat for the longest time, but it picked up in about 4 years, 3 years ago, where like red meat is the cause of every health disease ever known to man, right? They came out with that stupid documentary. What was the name of that documentary on Netflix?
I don't remember.
Game Changers. That's it. Game Changer. But it was that vegan about vegan athletes, right? On how they thrive. That it was this is how it was done. Red meat is disastrous. You don't need it. All because of a study. Now, if you go and you read the study, okay, it doesn't tell you the whole picture. Because what it doesn't weed out is that along with eating red meat, okay, the people that have a tendency of eating red meat also have a tendency of other comorbidities, all right? Other disease states, okay? And it's across the board. So, in matter of fact, all they're showing is correlation, and what they're trying to prove is causation, and it is not. If you don't know the difference, look it up. Okay?
Correlation does not mean causation.
Absolutely not. It is far from it. They are saying that red meat causes these things, where the data says it is a correlation. They just happen to be there. It is no way proving causation. Same thing with this study. Okay? They don't have the data to support the conclusion, and therefore they say it is misinformation what everybody else's perception is. Wrong. At most, this study should have never came out.
Absolutely not. How do you waste that much money to come up with a study like that with
and
no
that's the point. He probably
conclusion.
didn't want to waste his money, so he just said, screw it, just come out with what we think anyway.
Right.
Okay? That should have never... When you can't prove or you can't go... If anything, what he should have done, if he wanted to actually be on the up and up, if he was able to get the data and it proved him wrong, you publish it.
Right.
Okay? That would have been on the up and up. But we're under the premise that he wasn't going to do that regardless. So at worst, or at best, this should have never came out.
Yeah, or he could have just came out with a one-sentence study that said, yeah, we tried to study this. We could not come up with a conclusion because we could not get access to the data needed to make an actual appropriate conclusion.
Absolutely.
But instead, you just want to, you want to fuel the flames and
they want to make things up.
Exactly. And then accuse you of doing that, which is just a common running theme on top of all the other ones. You know what this reminds me of? Was Cuomo, when this whole thing with the nursing homes first came out, and he made a commission filled with his own people to investigate his actions during the nursing home. And what did that commission come out? He did nothing wrong. What a surprise. What a surprise.
But wait a minute. Didn't I just read something else?
Exactly.
I just read that he may have underreported by as much as 50% the deaths.
Because now it doesn't matter. But wait a minute,
his own words. Who cares?
Yeah, who cares?
Who cares whether they died here or they died there? They died.
Right.
That was practically almost verbatim of what the governor of New York State has said regarding the reporting that just came out about the deaths in the nursing homes. Who cares whether they died here or whether they died there? They died.
Yeah, get over it, move on. That's their whole thing. And this is what they do best. They lie. They make you seem like you are the liar or you are peddling the misinformation simply for calling them out on their lie. And then when they finally have no choice but to confront the lies that they've been telling you, they just tell you, whatever, who cares? It's over with, move on.
Hillary Clinton, Benghazi. At what point does this... What did she say again? What did she say? I'm messing it up now. She said, at what point does this matter? Right? Benghazi. At this point, what does it matter? Well, what do you mean, what does it matter? There were people that died. We had an ambassador die.
Yeah.
The place was overrun. And you knew about it.
And they asked you over and over for help. And you turned your back on them. But who cares? It's over with. Move on. Right? Move on. And that's the common theme with that party. And that's why you have people like AOC who Just take that torch and run with it, right?
Cortez.
What did AOC just get caught up in?
Say her name. Say her full name.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Alexandria.
Right? Let it roll.
Ocasio-Cortez.
There you go.
Ooh.
Right?
Alexandria.
It could be the title of a novel.
Ooh.
Right? You read that in the
I
bathtub, light up a couple candles.
She has got a hot name. That is a hot name.
Yeah. Pour yourself a glass of wine.
Alexandria.
You just put that in the tape and just have it on repeat.
Ocasio-Cortez. Ooh. She
Yeah.
has got a hot. That is a hot name.
does.
That is a hot name.
It's just too bad that the total package is a fucking disaster.
You know, talking about misinformation, hyperboles, the idea of just making crap up. She just got caught in like another lie in which she is pushing this narrative that she narrowly escaped with her life from the riot that happened in the Capitol on January, what was it, 6th?
Yeah.
That she narrowly escaped. We narrowly
She was shaking and terrified.
Narrowly escaped with our lies. And she was literally tearing up and getting all choked up just thinking about the whole thing and how people were slamming on my door and I barricading myself and they ransacked the halls and they were going through the building. Okay.
There's just one problem with that story.
No, it's true. Well, what's the problem?
She wasn't at the Capitol. That's the problem. That's a pretty big detail to leave out of your story.
But what?
Yeah.
What?
She was in her office, which was what was that? A few blocks away, past an expressway.
That's not at the Capitol. She wasn't there.
She was not there.
So what doors? What hallways were they banging on her door? She said they were banging on her door. She narrowly escaped with her life.
Yeah, narrowly escaped.
She
thoughts in her brain.
They were tears. She was crying.
This is just an example of victimhood, playing the victim. Right? I need to be a part of this. I can't dare push this narrative out there and be intimately involved in it unless I make up the story that I was there, right? I have to play the victim so that everybody knows that my word is God. It's truth. I was there. I saw it firsthand. This is what happened. This is how scary it was. I escaped my life. And by doing that, not only are you just caught in a lie and you look stupid, but you're disrespecting every person that actually was there, because you're stealing their what do you call it?
Their experience,
their
emotions,
and you're trying to make it your own.
You know,
it's disgusting. She's
every
just a piece of shit.
person. Now, I have no doubt that she was worried. I have no doubt that maybe perhaps she was scared, right? Because she may have heard what was going on. She obviously heard what was going on. She was probably told to go into a room and stay in her room.
Absolutely.
Right?
They probably locked down every building in the area.
They had a lockdown.
Yeah.
And rightfully so, right? That's
protocol.
Right, exactly. That's protocol that what happens. And, you know, that being a little worried, being anxious, all those emotions and feelings I'm sure came over her.
Yes.
I get all that. And no one's taking that away, because I think anybody in that position would have felt that way as well.
Right.
I mean, think about it. Something's being done. There's a riot. There's a takeover. There's a big hoorah going on, and I have to now be forced to be locked into my office.
Right.
Yeah.
And God forbid, God only
happens.
knows what kind of information you're getting at the time and how you're getting that information. So
emotions run high. Get all that. Her anxiety, fear, I'm sure was there, and you know what? It's justified. However, that isn't what we're talking about, okay? What we're talking about here is taking that experience, okay, and then lying, creating a story, creating a narrative that paints an entirely different picture than what you went through, okay? That is a complete fallacy. That is fake news.
Yeah, and you know what happens now that she got caught red-handed again in another lie? She accuses you and me and other people like us who call her out on her lie as being spreaders of misinformation. So instead of
I'm
just
probably
owning,
some devil worshiper.
instead of just owning up to it and just going, yeah, my bad, I made it up, I wanted to be a part of it, whatever excuse you want to come
Just
up
play
with.
the route of your emotions.
Right.
I was so emotionally disturbed by this that I fell into a state in which my mind created this story and it felt real.
Right.
That's
it. And then
just say that
and apologize, move on. But instead,
no, I'm gonna dig a hole even deeper.
right. And she goes to her social media, big tech guys, right? Because we all know big tech's in their pockets. Again, you want to deny that simple fact. You're fucking lying to yourself. And she asks Facebook and Twitter people to delete any posts that are being spread with her name in the hashtag regarding that lie, because they're spreading misinformation. That was her reasoning. They're spreading misinformation. No, you're spreading misinformation, and people are calling you out on it, and now you're just pissed off because you're upset that people are making memes and hashtags about you.
Chris, remind me, what amendment is free speech?
I believe that is the very first one.
The First Amendment, free speech, right there, being manipulated. 100% manipulation. That, to me, is an atrocity. That doesn't happen in a normal America. It doesn't happen. However, we have individuals that are in seats of power, positions of power, that have influence. And now
millions of followers.
They don't even realize what is going on underneath them. There is misinformation all around. There is a deceptive entity out there that wants to hide you from all the reality that is. And how are they doing that? By attacking the very First Amendment of the Constitution, which is free speech. They take your ability to talk and speak of your mind and they turn it against you. And how they also suppress and delete other people's opinions in which don't fit their narrative, their way of thinking, or their agenda. And how are they able to do that? It is because there are other individuals that are in other areas of influence that can do it for them. That is how.
And they're using what to do it? The very First Amendment that they're trying to stop you from exercising.
Exactly.
So your attack on her is misinformation and should be deleted off the face of the planet because she doesn't agree with what you're saying, but she's allowed to continue spreading lies. And not only should her tweets or her accounts not be deleted, but we should glorify them. And they did the same thing with this Jussie Smollett guy, which is why half her hashtags had her name and his name combined together to make one. Because here's another guy who took a story, fake, made it up, got caught, and instead of just fucking accepting it, apologizing, begging for forgiveness and moving on, he decided to blame everybody else, file massive lawsuits against everybody, and play the victim. It's not my fault I made up a story. Yeah, it is your fucking fault. You're a piece of shit, okay? You want to be in the limelight. You're obviously a leftist lunatic because your attackers had to be white supremacist, MAGA hat wearing,
Didn't he hire those
crazy
two guys?
people who you hired who actually looked nothing of that part, okay? And then you got
black
caught.
Guys, right? They were two black guys.
And you got caught. And
instead wasn't it the two black guys that came out first against him and kind of like broke the story?
Yeah, well, they went back and they looked at surveillance footage. They couldn't find a single thing on that footage of anything that he was declaring. And then he was changing his story over and over again. And then those guys got found out.
Tall tale sign, right?
And
tall tale sign.
They questioned those guys. Those guys flipped on him. So it's just another example of how they embrace this victimhood where they're so good at lying that not only do they believe their lies, but when they get called out on it, they can't even fathom that what they're saying is untrue.
It becomes a reality.
They can't even believe it.
It becomes
so
a reality.
instead, they just attack everybody who points it out to them. And then we're labeled all liars,
Listen,
xenophobics and every
Kampf.
other phobe.
All right. If anybody has not read Mein Kampf, read Mein Kampf. And who wrote Mein Kampf? That was Hitler, right? Hitler knew, for all the evil things that he obviously did, right? He knew how to manipulate people. And that's what Mein Kampf is. It is basically a playbook on how to manipulate people, okay? And one of the themes is that you create a lie, all right? Or you create a scenario, or you create a situation, okay? Create a narrative. Doesn't matter if it's true, okay? Doesn't matter. Matter of fact, it's probably better that it's not.
Right.
And what you do is you continuously say that it is. You continuously drive it. You continuously push it. It is this. It is this. It is this. Until ultimately, it doesn't matter what reality is. That scenario becomes the truth.
Right.
Even though it was never there to begin with.
You convince yourself that it's real, and then you do
And
everything you can to convince everybody else.
Absolutely. And if you're in a position of power, and you continuously are railing against this idea, this narrative that is not true, eventually it becomes truth because you've made it so.
Yeah. And you've gotten away with it in the
exactly.
past.
And that is exactly what happened in the past. It is what happened in multiple times throughout history. It is the way that radicals work nowadays. It is the way radicals have worked throughout history. This is how, if you're not big on politics, it doesn't necessarily have to be political. This is done throughout history. How does anyone manipulate the population? They manipulate it by railing against a narrative so hard and making people think that it's true. That is how anything is done.
Yeah, and you get a bunch of your powerful friends to echo that message.
Right. Even if they're not friends of yours, if they happen just to listen to you.
Right.
And
or
they jump on your bandwagon.
Yeah,
exactly.
Or agree with your viewpoint.
Right.
And so you get a population of people that are not hearing from one person, they're hearing it from 2 people, 3 networks, 4 networks. And now it becomes, oh my God, if all these people are saying it, then it must be true.
Right.
Well, no, it's just one person who passes the information on to another, who passes it on to another, and they make it seem like it's coming from all angles, from different sources, and that this has to be true. And the majority of the times it isn't. And AOC has proven this before in the past when she went down to the Texas border and tried to make some false claims about the kids in the cages and what their conditions were.
Where
other reporters were with her, present on the same tour that she was, standing next to her, staring at the same things she was staring at, who immediately after she released those statements came out against her. And we're not talking about reporters who are, again, right-leaning or friendly to, the Trump campaign or whatever. And they came against her and said, no, actually, your account is completely false and made up. We have no idea what you're talking about. And she was caught again in a lie. And instead of owning up to it, she doubled down. I know what I saw. I know what I know. And I don't need to apologize to anybody. And she gets away with it. She gets a pass. She gets 10 more million followers. And because of that power, she knows that she can basically do this continuously, and she's going to get away with it. And now you go from that scenario, fast forward to now, to this lie, which is an even bigger lie, and it's an even bigger egregious lie. But nobody cares.
I think Schumer cares.
I completely doubt that.
No, I think he does because I think he's worried.
He's worried about her taking her spot.
Exactly.
But he doesn't care that she's a liar because Chuck Schumer is a fucking liar himself, and he's a piece of garbage anyway.
Right. So we're going to see who gets outlied.
Right.
Who can outlie the other and retain power and or possibly gain power. Right?
Well, remember, it's a dog-eat-dog world in that party in particular, and you're going to see all the nasty shit that comes out the next time around.
And with that, till next time. I'm Chris.
And I'm Chris. And this is where we drop the mic.